Anime conventions feel like pure chaos to the average attendee. Thousands of fans crammed into echoing halls, rare merch vanishing in minutes, and line queues that snake around corners like an endless boss battle. But behind that bedlam is a hidden army of volunteers and department heads quietly pulling every string. They unlock doors before dawn, whisk celebrities through service tunnels, and whisper code words over private radios when something goes wrong. Today we're cracking open their vault. By the end of this series, you'll know 10 staff-only truths most fans never even guess, and one of them once got a veteran congoer banned for life. Long before the opening ceremony hype video rolls and security waves in the first cosplayer, staff badges are already inside. While attendees are still shuffling through hotel lobbies nursing convenience store coffee, department leads do a quiet lap of the vendor hall. They check that the autograph tables are bolted together, test every exit door, and here's the juicy part, eye all those limited run figures lined up under draped tarps. Because staff credentials don't just unlock back hallways, they come with pre-show freedom. Some conventions offer VIP ticket holders a measly 30-minute head start. Staff, they're on the floor hours earlier, often just after vendors finish setup the night before. At DreamCon, for example, early entry perks start an hour before rope drop for premium attendees, but staff are inside well before that window even opens. Why does that matter? Imagine strolling past untouched boxes of con-exclusive Nendoroids when the rest of the world is still in bed. Vendors love early sales to cover booth costs quickly, so quiet first dibs deals happen at dawn. And it isn't merely rumor. Countless volunteer threads confirm that putting in 12 to 18 support hours routinely earns a free weekend badge, and that badge unlocks the earliest floor access of anyone not wearing a vendor wristband. But privilege comes with pressure. Those same staffers must record any safety hazard they see, snap phone photos of crooked banners, and radio misnumbered booths to floor control, all before doors swing open. One forgotten call-out can trigger a fire marshal's citation later, so Dawn Patrol isn't a casual merch safari, it's a timed mission with eyes everywhere. Still, veterans confess they've scored grail items at retail price while regular batch holders were stuck outside, counting down the clock. And if you think an early shopping spree is wild, wait until you hear what's waiting behind doors you'll never see on any public map. Somewhere in every major convention center hides an unlisted room, sometimes an unused meeting suite, other times a repurposed ballroom, guarded by a little laminated staff-only sign. Cross that threshold, and you'll find the lifeline that keeps volunteers functional all weekend, the staff lounge. Inside, battered couches cluster around power strips charging radios and phones. Coolers brim with bottled water and electrolyte packets. A whiteboard logs who's on break and when they're due back. Most important, the food table. From boxed pizza to day-old bagels, snacks appear in endless waves, funded by the event budget or donated by sponsors. Anime Matsuri lists this perk outright. Meals, snacks, and hydration come standard with a staff pass. Anime Boston takes it further. After teardown, they throw a private dead dog party with free food and drinks exclusively for staff who survived the weekend. Some conventions even comp shared hotel rooms for core volunteers, especially when shifts can stretch to 18 hours. Anime Expo alumni joke that they spent more time asleep on Radisson mattresses than in their own homes each July, but the free lodging sweetened the 6 a.m. call times. Staff lounges also double as safe zones to decompress after a heated incident. No attendees allowed. Bring an unauthorized friend inside, and one Midwest event bluntly states you'll be kicked out for good. Why does this secret matter to regular fans? Because those lounges are where crucial decisions get made. Which panel to cut when a guest overruns, which aisle to reroute when a waterline leak floods Artist Alley, and yes, which forgotten plushies from Lost and Found are going home with which department lead if no one claims them. The lounge is the convention's hidden nerve center wrapped in free pizza grease and exhaustion jokes. Every major convention has its own playbook of covert chatter. Code Atom flashes across radios the moment a child goes missing. Staff discreetly lock side exits, post spotters at escalators, and fan out through Artist Alley, while the main PA keeps blasting J-pop to avoid mass worry. Most kids are found within minutes, but you'd never know a crisis was unfolding. Code Brown, yes, the name's a running joke. Flags any biological hazard. Spilled ramen cups, a surprise bout of con plague, or worse. Crew rush in with gloves and disinfectant before it hits social media. Code red? Fire alarm. Half the time it's a rogue fog machine, but the response is drilled like a speedrun. Kill power to aisle lights. Crack emergency doors. Reroute foot traffic. 20 seconds flat. Zero screaming fans. Why so cloak and dagger? Because the #1 rule of crowd management is simple. Panic spreads faster than Wi-Fi. One security lead described it as herding a stampede of excited picachos. Cute until they bolt. The code system lets staff coordinate EMTs, city police, even canine units, without ever tipping off the public that something terrifying might be happening 10 feet away. But crisis codes are only half the hidden network. The other half decides who gets to come back tomorrow and who's locked out of anime cons across the region for good. Picture this. You shove a volunteer because the autograph line closed, scream about wasting $200, and storm off. You might think security just ejects you and calls it a day. In reality, your badge number, full name, and a quick incident summary land on a shared spreadsheet the moment you hit the curb. Most big conventions now exchange these lists in real time through private Discord servers and encrypted Google Sheets. One tap, and your profile is tagged across half a dozen regional events. Try to register for next month's con? The database pings registration. Denied. Recurring offenders, harassers, bootleg vendors, serial drunks get a bright red banner next to their name. Some even have mugshots snapped at the security desk, so checkpoints can spot them a year later under a different wig. The scariest part? You'll never know you're on it until your badge is rejected. There's no public appeals form, no warning email, just an awkward, "I'm sorry, you're not in our system," will call while the line behind you stares. Staff say they hate using the blacklist, but it's the only way to keep repeat chaos from boomeranging back every summer. One notorious attendee made headlines after sneaking booze into multiple panels, then bragging on TikTok. Within 48 hours, for conventions spanning 2 states, flag his name. He hasn't stepped inside a con center since. So, next time you're tempted to cuss out a volunteer for enforcing crowd control, remember, there's a permanent paper trail, and it travels fast. Feel like the stakes just spiked? They should. Yet not every staff secret is about danger. Some are about opportunity, especially if you're hunting that elusive limited edition figure. In Part 3, we're exposing the early morning bargain hunts, the hush-hush bootleg sweeps, and the hidden auctions you've never heard of. The show floor smells like fresh PVC, and impulse buy regret the second the doors open, but by that time the real shopping frenzy is already over. Staff radios crackle, vendors finish their last-minute booth selfies, and a handful of in-the-know badges have quietly scooped up the day's rarest loot before a single attendee sets foot inside. Welcome to the stealth economy of anime conventions. 1 part privilege, 1 part security sweep, and 100% hidden from the average fan. Vendor hall exclusives are a blood sport. Limited edition figures capped at 50 units. Mystery pin drops that vanish in seconds. Signed art prints that never restock. Publicly, every badge holder gets a fair chance when the rope finally drops. Privately, staff and exhibitors strike pre-opening deals at dawn. A viral Reddit thread from Anime Expo spelled it out. Volunteers who flash an exhibitor or staff wristband can enter the hall early and line up for limited merch before everyone else, sparking debates over whether it's harmless perk or outright cheating. The practice isn't new. Vendors love an off-hour sale that covers booth rent before breakfast, but it's rarely advertised. Early bird staffers have snagged con-exclusive Nendoroids at retail, then flipped them online the same afternoon for triple the price. One security lead joked that half the sold-out signs go up before the public doors even unlock. How does it work? Simple. Pre-show recon. During setup night, staff roam hall aisles checking fire lanes and power cables. Perfect cover for a peek at vendor stock. Mental wish lists get made on the spot. Dawn discounts. At 6 a.m., before the air conditioning even kicks on, vendor neighbors trade coffee for first sales. A staffer buys 2 exclusive acrylic stands. The vendor pockets guaranteed cash. Everybody wins, except the fans still asleep upstairs. Silent flips. Anything bought that early slips straight into staff bags stored backstage. By the time the public sees the booth, the grail items are long gone. Is it technically allowed? Most conventions turn a blind eye. Staff codes of conduct focus on safety, not shopping ethics. The only unwritten rule: don't brag. Word gets out, and Twitter roasts both the volunteer and the event in the same thread. But while some staff quietly profit, another crew is prepping to protect fans' wallets by hunting counterfeit goods before they ever hit the table. Counterfeit plushies, off-color figurines, and photocopied wall scrolls used to be everywhere. These days, large conventions field dedicated anti-bootleg patrols, often the same staff who were shopping minutes earlier. Anime Expo's official policy states in bold, bootleg/counterfeit merchandise is strictly prohibited. Gray market goods are likewise banned. To enforce that, small teams, usually 2 staffers plus a floor manager, walk every aisle before the public arrives. Their checklist is ruthless. Logo audit, missing trademark stamps on packaging, instant red flag, color mismatch, off-model paint or blurry box art, tag it and verify. License proof, vendors must show distributor paperwork on demand. If a booth can't prove legitimacy within minutes, staff tape a seizure notice to the items. Most vendors comply, a few argue, and those arguments often end with security escorting them and their entire stock out the dock doors. Fans rarely see this drama because it happens at dawn. When the doors open, the counterfeit figure you might have hesitated over is already gone, confiscated hours earlier. This sweep isn't just for show, it protects the event's reputation. One staffer from Anime Central told me they've shut down whole tables before breakfast to avoid licensing lawsuits. Bootleg patrols also act as vendor support, tipping off legitimate sellers when a neighbor's knockoffs threaten their sales. Merch authenticity equals happy licensors, which equals future guest stars and exclusive drops. It's a feedback loop fueled by 7 a.m. coffee and a shared Google Sheet of known bootleg SKU codes. Yet even with patrols in place, shady merch still slips through. That's why some conventions run a hidden compliance booth near staff HQ. Bring a suspect plush and they'll quietly authenticate it or warn you off. Get caught flaunting obvious fakes after warning? Your badge can and has been clipped on the spot. Convention centers collect more lost items in a weekend than airports do in a month. Phones, game consoles, entire wig boxes. Most of it returns to grateful owners. But the rest? It doesn't just vanish. Staff have a carefully guarded system for dealing with the mountain of orphan valuables, and what happens next might shock you. Every con runs an official lost and found desk, usually near registration. What rarely gets mentioned is the 90-day rule written into many event policies. After 3 months of unanswered emails, unclaimed items become convention property. Small stuff, scarves, water bottles, gets donated. But high-ticket gear? Staff catalog it, lock it in storage, and once a year hold a closed-door auction open only to senior volunteers. Picture a projector flashing lot numbers while department heads bid on DSLR cameras, limited edition plushies, and sometimes even whole suitcases crammed with merch. Proceeds offset next year's badge printing or staff meal budget. Attendees never hear a peep because the auction link lives on a password-gated portal buried deep in staff Slack. One longtime logistics lead swears he scored a near-mint Sailor Moon wand for $40 at a post-con auction. Retail value? Over $180. It's the ultimate bittersweet perk. Staff get deals, the con recoups costs, and the original owners, well, they had 90 days. Staffers survive on adrenaline and cheap coffee until their bodies protest, so most large events carve out at least one unlisted chill room. No signs, no public mention, just a plain door behind the service corridor with a sticky note that says storage. Inside, dim lights, silence, charging strips, maybe a box of earplugs. Some cons add yoga mats or an emergency sewing kit for torn uniforms. Others keep a mini fridge stacked with electrolyte drinks and an honor system logbook. Write your badge number, crash for 30 minutes, head back out. These rooms are sacred. Bring an attendee friend inside and you'll be on toilet monitor duty for the rest of the weekend, if you're not ejected outright. If that door's propped open, something's wrong. One safety chief told me. It means a staffer is so exhausted they forgot to hide the hideout. Need proof they work? Ask any med team volunteer. Heat exhaustion cases among staff plummeted the year decompress rooms became standard. But even a Zen nap zone can't stop the wave of collapses that hits every Saturday afternoon. You've probably seen the public first aid booth by the escalators. What you haven't seen is the secondary medical hub nestled in a service tunnel, stocked like a tiny ER. EMTs stage for bags, ice packs, and oxygen tanks for the inevitable rush. Fainting cosplayers in 10-pound armor, diabetic attendees who skip lunch, body paint allergies lighting skin on fire. During peak hours, a runner with a radio literally counts stretchers. Weary down to 2 open beds. Call hotel ops for backup. Meanwhile, the main hall music never dips. Attendees keep dancing to Anime OP remixes, with no clue a triad unit is steps away. Worst night on record? Saturday of a record-breaking heatwave. 37 dehydration cases, 6 ambulance transports. Staff still brag that the halls stayed calm because MedOps never let panic leak past the doors. And when the final panel wraps and crowds stumble back to hotels, a different crew clocks in to protect everyone from a villain scarier than any horror anime monster, Conflague. As midnight rolls past, a skeleton crew armed with industrial sprayers, UV light wands, and so much sanitizer it could flood a pool prowl's every table, railing, and gaming controller. They log high-touch zones, elevator buttons, gotcha machines, autofill soda fountains, and blast them in a rotating chemical cycle designed with local health department consultants. Why the secrecy? Optics. Watching hazmat-style sprayers roam the hall could freak out late-night attendees. So janitorial shifts sync with programming gaps and backhaul shortcuts, slipping in during room resets when virtually no one is around. The payoff? Post-event illness surveys show conventions that run a full deep clean every night see double-digit drops in reported flu-like symptoms. It's pricey, exhausting, and absolutely invisible to the public, just the way organizers like it. We've pulled back the curtain on staff perks, crisis codes, bootleg raids, lost item auctions, secret nap dens, hidden ERs, and late-night biodefenses. Put it all together and one truth stands out. Anime conventions only look chaotic from the outside. Behind every roped-off line and boom of the theme song remix is a meticulously choreographed machine powered by over-caffeinated volunteers. Respect the rules. They're not random. They're built from decades of hard-earned backstage battle scars. Stay kind. Staff might be the only reason you get your phone back or avoid buying a counterfeit figure. Hydrate and pace yourself, because EMTs would really like a quiet shift for once. Claim your stuff. 90-day auctions are real, and your lost limited edition could become someone's $20 steal. Which secret surprised you the most? Early bird shopping, silent blacklists, or the underground ER? And if you've ever volunteered at a con, what secret perks did you discover?
Spill the tea below.
If this insider deep dive saved you from rookie mistakes or just blew your mind, smash like, hit subscribe, and ring that bell. We've got more untold stories, from voice actor greenroom drama to the truth about 18+ panels, dropping soon. Don't miss the next reveal.